Jared, just the news of the morning with Nathan MacKinnon being a Hart Trophy finalist. I know you get asked about him all the time, but validation that he's in that conversation, just what do you think about the way he's played this year?
Well, he's been outstanding. I don't think there was any doubt he was going to be one of the finalists for that. I mean, I think that was pretty clear early on. He as consistent as he played and as dominant as he's been through the course of the season. I think it's just, we were expecting that.
Coach, just building off that a little bit, what can you say about the way that he's maybe, or if he's changed at all, his leadership style, or has he, with Gabe not being here for 2 full years, has he changed the way that he leads in the room, or is it the consistency that makes him as great as he is?
Well, it's the consistency in his preparation. I mean, takes care of his game first, but there's no question that his leadership has evolved over, the 8 years that I've been with him. It's, I think when you get your game to a spot that you feel comfortable with as a young player, and then you understand how important winning is and what it takes to get there, then you start trying to help everyone else around you. And he's certainly done that. He's branched out and evolved as a leader of our team, but some of the things are still very consistent. The way he leads by example, the way he prepares himself and helps prepare our team for our opponents. Those parts of his DNA have always been there, but there's no question that he's got a bigger, picture outlook on the game now than he did when I first came.
Nick? I'm sorry. You've coached a couple series against Peter DeBoer. First, I just want to ask, any common threads from those series that you can learn from?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some. Yeah. It's different teams, different, scenarios. Like, I think when we played them the first time would have been San Jose. They were one of the established best teams in the conference, had a lot of success. We were kind of an up-and-coming team. In Vegas, we played him again. He's with a different team. Our team's at a different spot. Now he's on another team in Dallas. It's a very good. All those teams that he's coached have been very good, very disciplined, very well-rounded. Obviously, a very good coach. And now our team's kind of at a different level again. So, be a fun series. I think they're a well-coached team. They're very well-rounded team when it comes to the way they can produce offense deep throughout their lineup, and then on the defensive side of it, they're rock solid, including special teams and everything. So this is obviously a team that finished top of the West, and they're there for a reason. Part of that's Pete's coaching.
Well, the second thing, they were really put an emphasis on the rush game against Vegas, a really good rush team. What do you expect they'll do against you?
Well, they're going to play their game to their best of ability. They'll have keys for us, and part of that will be shutting down the rush attack. I don't think it's anything that any team doesn't try to do against us. They've just been better at it than most other teams, So, and we have the same sort of keys that we need to focus on with them, shutting down their offense and still trying to create as much offensive as we have in the past against them.
Corey?
So there's like a lot of connections between the two franchises, but just and a lot of history too. But just where the two franchises are at right now, do you sort of see this as like you guys might see them, 3 or 4 more times? It might just be like a thing where these two teams see each other in this round often.
I don't know. Like the league is so difficult that as soon as you go into the top teams, we're in the same division. You have to play out of your division. So whether you face them first round, second round. If we keep doing what we're supposed to do and get into the playoffs, and they keep doing the same thing, you're going to face each other a lot. It's just the way it is with the current playoff format. So they're obviously a very good team, and we like to consider ourselves that. So yeah, I would assume that you're probably going to run into each other every once in a while.
Evan?
Look like you might make a move putting Wagner in on the line up there. Just what would you look for from a veteran like that, just replacing a younger guy?
Well, the stability. He is a right shot centerman that's able to take draws. He understands our system. He played good games for us throughout the course of the year, so kind of taking away a little bit of the guesswork. He's a dependable guy, physical guy, not scared of traffic. Like I said, he's got playoff experience, and yeah, so that stability, understanding exactly what needs to be done and being confident within his game, that's something we could add with him.
Colleen?
Nate said yesterday that he was kind of excited that the series was going to start on the road, and that bonding is kind of, good for you guys to start off with. Energy looked good on the ice this morning. Is that kind of the mentality that you guys have, having been able to use that starting on the road is a good thing?
Well, that's the hand we're dealt, again, so it's neither good nor bad for me. It just is what it is. This is where we are, so we have to be prepared to play. And I think the energy comes from, we've been sitting around here, like we're getting a little antsy, like 3 days is really good, and then it stretches out again. And, we get some practice days in, we get some rest days, we come back to practice. They're all prepared now for what to expect from Dallas, and it's like time to go. So like guys have great energy because, we've been resting and practicing, and no one loves to practice at this time of year. They want to play games, and it's the best part of the game. So, I think we're in a good spot. It's about the mental side of it, getting mentally ready to be engaged. They've been doing it every second day, and we haven't. So getting back to where we left off in the Winnipeg series, and getting the intensity and urgency back in our game as quickly as we possibly can.
Last one, Megan.
Hearing Jim Montgomery consult Mike Babcock and John Cooper ahead of Game 7, I was curious if there are coaches that you've leaned on in big moments to gather insight, and if now, with the experience you've accrued, if you're a coach that other coaches have reached out to for insight.
Well, I have a group of coaches, like from the minors and some in the NHL now, that I talk to quite a bit. For us, like we were just sitting around preparing for a whole week for 2 different teams, so I didn't necessarily talk to anybody in this scenario. We know this team really well, and we feel like we know what we have to do to beat them. It's about going out and playing our best and executing now. But yeah, there's guys that I phone for advice, and as do our staff. Like Ray talks to Hitch a lot. I talk to a few guys I used to coach with, depending on if they're still involved or still playing in the playoffs. That changes. So I think like coaches nowadays, everything is so transparent with video that you're leaning on friends and a peer group for advice in more the mental side of things than how would you react or respond to this? How would you approach this situation? Because some coaches have gone through with different guys, and that it's less X's and O's than the mental side of the game.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.